Okay, so to end the class, I have one last little segment for you that you can work on. And this is involving some strengthening and more stretching at the end. So after your tabletop pose position, feel free to take a break if you need to, and then we're going to lay on the ground. I'm going to show you a pose called the Cobra Pose, and this is really good for your chest and your back muscles. So you want to lay on the floor, just lay all the way down on the mat. Now, what I'm going to do is I need to walk my hands back, so they're probably about mid-rib cage. So I'm feeling my ribs. Walk your wrist back to your rib cage. Reach your toes towards the wall behind you and press all 10 toenails into the ground. So just reach your toes back. Don't let the feet be lazy and splay out. So reach your toes. Imagine someone stepping on the bottoms of your feet. So once you have that and your legs are long, hug your elbows in next to your side body. They kind of look like grasshopper legs. Start with your forehead on the ground. Hug your elbows in. Watch the shoulder heads, pull them back to begin with. So if they're here, you need to squeeze your shoulder blades and pull them back. Press your toes down. The whole time your legs are active and working. You want to exhale out first. And on the inhale breath, you're going to lift your head, neck, chest off the ground to whatever degree that you can lift. So if you are a little bit, it's challenging for you and you get fatigued, take a break, put your head down. But again, inhale, lift. Spread the fingertips. Now you want to think about dragging your wrists back. I'm literally trying to drag my wrists towards the back of the mat. Hug the elbows in, shoulder heads, pull them back. Press the toes down. Reach through the big toes to the back of the room. Lift and lengthen. Your eyes can be forward or looking down towards the edge of your yoga mat. So here is a great place to keep your gaze, eyes focused. And you want to breathe. Keeping the breath moving through the nose. Pause for 5 breaths. Try to lift. Every time you inhale, you want to try to lift the chest a little bit more. Squeeze your back muscles, hug your elbows in, press your toes down, and drag your wrists back, and then you can take a little bit of a break. You can take one hand over hand, rest the forehead. If it's okay for your neck, just rest your ear on the floor, and then turn to one side, stay here for a couple breaths, and then you can turn to the other side as well. So that's what we call Cobra Pose. From there, you transition yourself back up. And this is, the next pose is called Downward Dog. I'm sure you heard this before, and it's our kind of staple yoga pose. So for Downward Dog, your hands are still shoulder width distance. It's just like tabletop. So I do want you to set up in tabletop pose. Now the only difference is I'm going to have you walk your knees back just a little bit, maybe like 2 or 3 inches. Tuck the toes underneath. Take a deep breath in through your nose. And on the exhale breath, lift your hips off, lift your knees off the ground and lift your hips up to the sky. Adjust your feet so that they're parallel. Oftentimes people's feet are too much turned out in Downward Dog. I need you to parallel your toes. Even if your heels aren't touching the floor, that's okay, but bend your knees. Bend the knees, press through the hands, parallel the feet. And the reason why I want you to bend your knees a little bit is for your spine. Because if I straighten my legs, my spine's going to round a little bit. If I bend my knees, I can point the tailbone to the sky. So you want to think about pointing the tailbone up, and it makes your back a little bit flatter. Your ears are in between your biceps. So not out here, not too far in, just right between the biceps. My neck should be long, supple, and relaxed. No tension. Ground through the hands, press through the hands, and the idea is that your hips are reaching up. Keep finding length through the hands. Press through so your tailbone's pointing upward towards the sky. So if you're rounding over, this is useless. Point the tailbone up and find length in the spine here. And eventually your heels will come down. So Downward Dog, you can pedal your legs. Stretch your calf muscles. You can look right and left. Relax your neck. And stay here. It's a really great way to strengthen your upper body. Again, try for 5 to 10 breaths if you can. Just work your way up to that. After Downward Dog, lower down to your knees. If you need to take a child's pose again to relax, you're more than welcome to come to this position. Surrendering yourself down to the floor. And then from there, we're actually going to head to our back. So then this is the last part of the practice. You will need your strap nearby, and if you have any neck issues, I would recommend opening the towel and using this as a pillow. So I'm going to open the towel just to give my neck a little bit of space. So when you are laying on the towel, you want to make sure that the towel, you're not laying on it with your shoulders and your head. So if you can see my shoulders and my head's on the towel, I need you to walk yourself back so that the towel is only underneath the head and your shoulders are towards the ground. So you can see my shoulders are on the ground, the towel is supporting just behind my neck and my head. So then that way you can lay here flat on the floor. Okay, so with your strap handy dandy nearby, you're going to open it. I want you to bend your right knee to your chest, interlace the fingers on top of the shin or under. This is usually easier, so you can start here. And you're just going to give yourself a hug. You're just going to pull your knee down towards your shoulder. Feel the compression in your hip. It also is a nice little stretch for your quadricep. Just squeeze and pull. Hold for a few breaths in and out. And what we're doing is we're warming up your leg. Then you're going to grab the strap. Slide it underneath the ball of your right foot. Pull the toes downward towards the ground. So oftentimes the toes are lazy, so this is no activation in my feet. Once I can activate my feet, my toes have got to pull down to the ground. And if you can do this and just stay right here, I already feel this behind the underbelly of my entire leg. Now, you may look different than this, and what you may look like is more at an angle, which is fine with the knee slightly bent because your hamstrings need to open up. So that's why the strap is really, really important. It allows you to stay in alignment, and then you can also modify if you need to. One day, once you are a little bit more open, you can work the leg a little straighter. I'm still engaging my quadricep, it's still a muscle. And then I can align my heel right over my hip for 90 degrees. Your arms are going to hang on. Now what I want you to do is make sure that you're not overly reaching. Your shoulders are off the ground. I need you to press and plug your shoulder blades on the floor. So give yourself as much space as you need on the strap so that your shoulders are relaxed on the ground, your arms are straight, you're hanging on nice and tight, toes are flexed. And this is a great way to stretch the backs of your legs. Again, if you are a little bit more to diagonal here, that's fine. Even if you're lower to the ground, bend your knee a little bit so you're not in that much pain. You need to be in a comfortable stretch, so never, never any pain. Again, hang out here, 5-10 breaths, and then you want to release the strap with the straight right leg, release it to the ground, and then just pause. Notice the difference between your right and your left so that you have an idea of what you're supposed to feel on the other side. And then we'll do the other side. So you hug your knee in, interlace the fingers underneath the kneecap, the knee joint. Pull your knee down towards your shoulder, give yourself a nice tight squeeze, kind of wake up the leg. And then prepare for hamstring stretch. Grab the strap underneath the ball of your foot. You can go back here if you want to, but I find it a little bit more effective if you're just underneath the ball of your foot. Flex the toes downward towards the ground. So again, instead of bending the knee and relaxing the toes completely, flex the foot a lot and then slowly start to work your way into a straighter leg. Pull the toes down. Imagine as if you're stepping on the ceiling. So if I'm looking at my foot, it looks like I'm stepping on the ceiling. So try to be as flat as possible. And then again, you just want to breathe here. Shoulder blades are grounded down to the floor. The idea behind the stretches is not just in the hamstring, but I need you to feel this in your calf as well. And if you have tight ankles, the more you can get your toes down, the more you're going to stretch your Achilles as well. But especially you want to feel it in the calf muscle and your hamstring. So stay, pause, breathe here for a couple breaths in, couple breaths out, and then we're going to release. So before the final pose, I want you to bend your knees, place the feet on the ground, your arms are going to go out wide. And you're just going to windshield wiper your knees to the right, back to center, and then down to the left, and then back to center. So you can go at the pace of your breath or at a pace that feels comfortable to you, but this is a great way to get your hips to move a little bit and you're on the ground. It doesn't require a ton of effort. This is a nice way to kind of rock yourself into the last pose of the day. So I really enjoy doing this. It relaxes me. It helps me open up the hips, get some movement and circulation into my hip joints as well. And then after about maybe 8 rounds on both sides, just make sure you're even. You can even hang out on one side for a couple breaths if you wanted to, and just pause here for a little bit. Let the arms relax. And this knee is going to hang in space. This thigh may or may not come down to the ground. And then the final pose is called savasana, or corpse pose. You're going to lengthen your legs long. Arms come down by your sides. And then you literally just close your eyes and allow your body to completely relax. Now, if you want a different variation sometimes, you can bring the feet together and let your knees and thighs go wide, arms out. Or if you want to prop yourself up, the other thing you can do with the towel is to prop your knees. So I can get the towel, fold it so it's thick, put it underneath my knees, and this is another variation that will allow your back to relax as well. So your shavasana should be as long as you want to stay. Don't end because the video is over. I want you to lay here until you want to wake up. It's not necessarily waking up, but until you want to move again. So you're going to be relaxed, close your eyes, let yourself surrender to the floor. And the reason why we do this at the end of class is because we've done so many poses. And it's really this opportunity to let all the poses incorporate into the body and to allow the body to feel what you just did. So I hope you enjoy. And if you have any questions or concerns, send Zachariah a message. And I will hopefully see you soon. Thanks, Aunt Betty. And Aunt Debbie, bye.
Love you.